A lot of well-meaning people want to change, but admittedly, change is hard. It's never easy. That's why we always make New Year's resolutions. The problem is only 8% of those people end up achieving their goals. Those aren't very good odds. And most people are completely off the wagon by February. So, how do you make the change from point A, not focusing on your health and fitness, to point B, making it a priority in your life? There's a huge gap in between those 2 points, and this can be a huge stumbling block for a lot of people. And they spend their entire lives, or most of their lives, never figuring it out. Don't worry, I got you. In this video, I'm gonna give you 5 tips on how to fill that huge gap in between, and I'm gonna show you how to seamlessly make health and fitness a big part of your lifestyle. These are the exact same tips that I give to all my students, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. So you know it works. Before we get started, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to get notified every time I post a new video every week. Okay, the first thing that I want to talk about is time. Everyone seems to crave it, but unfortunately, we can't make more of it. That's why time is your most important asset, not money, because you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And busy has now become the new I'm good. You ask anyone how they're doing and they'll say, oh yeah, busy. And then I'm like, busy with what? And that's one of the biggest and honestly lamest excuses that people throw out, is that they don't have time. They don't have time to go to the gym. They don't have time to work out. They don't have time to make healthy food. They just don't have enough time. And it's so easy to just have that as your default excuse. And you know what? You're right, it's easy to feel like you don't have time to do other things. And this might trigger some people, but guess what? You do have time. We're all given the same 24 hours. You just choose to put more value on other things over your health. And that's fine. The first step is actually admitting that. The reason why I bring this up first is we just usually ignore our health. We kind of just hope and pray that we don't die. We abuse our bodies like no other. We eat like crap for the longest time, and everything's fine until you get sick. I remember before, when I didn't care about my diet, I would basically get sick multiple times every month. Then I started prioritizing my health and fitness, and over the last 8 years, I think I've only gotten sick maybe twice. So, how do you make more time? That's the million-dollar question. Well, according to recent data, we spend 8 hours sleeping, 3 hours moving around, so that includes your commute, moving around your house, going to the bathroom, etc. And 13 hours staring at a screen, whether it's your phone, work, studying, or watching Netflix. So right away, you can kind of see where you can carve a little bit of time, and it's definitely not gonna come from sleep. The average American, for example, checks their phones 96 times a day. That's basically once every 10 minutes. So we should probably start with that. Put your phone down. Next, I love Netflix just as much as the next guy, but if you binge watch one show after another every night, and then you say that you don't have time to work out and meal prep, maybe we need to cut down on the TV shows just a little bit. It's true that if you look at your life in general, you can easily say that you don't have time. That's the easiest way out. It's a built-in excuse for a lot of people. That's the path of least resistance. It's a lot harder to say, I don't have time, but I really want to change. Where can I make time? Because if you don't do it now, your body will force you to do it later. If you don't take care of your health and your body by making time now, you can bet that that's gonna come back and haunt you in some way, shape, or form later on. Let's use dementia, for example, and this is serious stuff. It's basically like death by 1,000 cuts. You don't really realize it until you hit 70 or whatever, and you don't recognize anyone anymore. And the best way to start your preventative measures was 30 years ago. And today is as good as any day to get started. Next, let's talk about money. This is an uncomfortable subject for a lot of people, but I'm gonna do my best to give you a bird's eye perspective on this. And it's up to you what you wanna do with the information that I give you. The way I see it, I always look at any money that I spend on myself as an investment. I'm investing in my health and fitness now so I can reap the rewards now and later on. First of all, let's just clear up this huge misconception that living a healthy lifestyle is expensive. It isn't. It doesn't have to be expensive at all. For example, workout supplements, big waste of money unless you're a full-time athlete. You don't even need a gym membership to get started or ever. And this is coming from a former full-time athlete. You don't need a gym membership to get fit, especially if your goal is to just lose weight, have a flat stomach, maybe even see your abs, fit better into your clothes, build some muscle so you can have that tight and toned look. You can achieve all those things without ever signing up for a gym membership. You don't need to buy an expensive Apple Watch to track your steps or your heart rate. You can just buy a Fitbit or even a cheap generic version on Amazon. You can even just use your phone. You don't need to always buy organic vegetables and grass-fed and grass-finished beef. I always say that there are levels to this. The higher you get, the the better. And buying organic vegetables and grass-fed and grass-finished beef is pretty high at the top of that totem pole. You don't need to start there. It's unnecessary. You can just focus on deleting all the junk from your diet and focusing on whole, mostly processed, nutrient-dense foods. That honestly gets you 90% of the way there. For me, my health is my number one priority. So I don't even blink when I spend the money that I spend on food. But I don't really spend my money on other things. I don't even drink, for example. When I eat out, I don't like going to expensive places. When it comes to clothes, I shop at Zara and H&M when I buy t-shirts. I still share a Netflix account with my family. I share an Amazon Prime account with 3 other people. Generally, I try to be as frugal as I can on most things outside of what I spend on groceries. So I can use all that money and not feel bad when I buy the good stuff. But that is a decision that I consciously made because it makes me feel good. It keeps my body healthy. Do you know what the number one cause of bankruptcy is for most people? Illness. Again, that's why health is my number one priority. And yes, I do want to acknowledge that there are some people out there who can't afford to buy a lot of things. Trust me when I say I know what that's like. My family didn't have a lot of money growing up. Fast food for us when I was a kid was only meant for special occasions. We couldn't even afford fast food. If that's the case, just do the best you can with what you have and just know that things will eventually get better. And I talk about how to eat healthy on a budget in this video, so make sure you check that out. Number 3, have go-to healthy meals. This is honestly the secret to eating healthy and making it a part of your lifestyle. You need to find healthy food you enjoy eating. Otherwise, you're not gonna stick to it. Adherence is everything when it comes to getting results. It's honestly the number one factor. You have to be able to stick to it. Let's use pickles as an example. People seem to love it, especially in North America, but I hate it. I think it's gross. Ugh, you're basically eating a rotten cucumber. Like, I won't eat it. I don't care if it's the healthiest food on the planet. I think I'd rather die. But that's just one of hundreds or thousands of different options for healthy food out there. And your go-to healthy meals, by the way, needs to revolve around plants and animals. And your staple vegetables, which should fill up 3/4 of your plate, should ideally be low in carbs, and any leafy greens or cruciferous vegetables meet that criteria. My personal go-to vegetables, for example, are broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, avocado, cilantro, and a little bit of sweet potato because it's considered resistant starch to feed my gut bacteria. And if you want to be a healthy and happy human being, prioritizing your gut health needs to be right near the top of your priority list. Some experts even consider the gut your second brain. Again, bonus points if you can buy organic. But again, there are levels. If you've been eating the standard American diet, for example, and you make the switch to a whole foods diet, that will honestly get you to about 90% of your goals, especially if you combine it with intermittent fasting. When it comes to animal products, buy the highest quality meat you can afford. Again, there are levels. If you eat a lot of fast food or microwavable frozen dinners, which is honestly basically bottom of the barrel food, and then you switch to eating ground beef, that's a huge upgrade because you're switching from something that's been processed to the nth degree. Like, those are the ingredients of chicken nuggets. Crazy, right? To something with just one ingredient, beef. And I try to throw out this example as much as I can, but beyond meat, for example, has 18 ingredients, and it's also, again, been processed to the nth degree. How could you possibly think that that's healthier for you? And no, tofu and other soy-based products aren't healthier for you either. In fact, they can be really bad for you because they can act as endocrine disrupting compounds, and they can cause some pretty adverse health effects. So is it really worth going plant-based? And I know that it might seem like I'm picking on vegans and vegetarians whenever I mention these examples, but you deserve the truth about it because there's a lot of garbage documentaries out there that just brainwashes people to making the switch to a plant-based diet. It's complete garbage. They cherry pick their data from epidemiological studies to suit their narrative. But if you actually look at real science, there are no randomized controlled clinical trials that shows that a plant-based diet is the healthy diet for humans. Not even close. Next, let's quickly talk about the quality of meat, because there is a world of difference between the nutritional profile of grass-fed and grass-finished beef versus feedlot beef. And I know that it can get pricey. Again, if you're new, you don't need to start with grass-fed and grass-finished unless you can afford it. But if you can, try to at least buy hormone and antibiotic-free beef. It's usually not that much more expensive. Again, think of it as an investment and you're absolutely worth it. Now, it's kind of up to you if you want to experiment with different types of methods when it comes to preparing your food, but I have zero passion when it comes to cooking. That's why I'm not a cooking channel. That's why the oven is my best friend. What I honestly do is I just cut up my vegetables, I season it with some sea salt, and I throw it in the oven, and I hope and pray that it tastes good. It usually does. Okay, The next level, bonus points if you can get into something called monostructural eating. Mono means single, so you're basically gonna be eating mostly the same food every day. And if you can do that, especially at the beginning, it can be an unbelievably powerful tool when it comes to being able to control all the variables in your diet. That's honestly been one of my biggest secrets. I've been eating mostly the same thing every day over the last 8 years. I mean, I do change it up a little bit. But once you find a setup that works, you're good. You're set. Tip number 4, find workouts you enjoy doing. We're gonna be using the same concept from the previous tip, except we're gonna apply it to exercise. Personally, I do a combination of CrossFit, Olympic weightlifting, and I recently started doing Muay Thai, and I love it. It doesn't feel like work. I don't have to force myself and muster all the motivation on the planet to get my butt to the gym. In fact, it's usually one of the highlights of my day. Going back to my first 2 tips, I've arranged my schedule to make time for my workouts. I've also made the necessary adjustments in my life in terms of money so I can invest some of that when it comes to my training. And this is gonna be different for everyone. Again, you don't necessarily need to have a gym membership in order to lose weight and get fit. But if you want any chance of having good quality of life and being healthy, especially in the long run, and this is where it goes way beyond weight loss, you need to move your body. This is non-negotiable, and you need to do it in 2 ways. You need to do some form of low intensity cardio every day, and the best and easiest way to do this is to just go for a walk and aim to get 10,000 steps every day, and do some form of resistance training so you can build some muscle. Again, no need to join a gym to do this. You don't need machines. You are the machine. You can just use your own body weight as your form of resistance, especially if you're new. Later on, if you want, if your budget allows, you can absolutely join a gym. But again, very important, these workouts need to be weight bearing so you can build some muscle. Because having a lot of lean muscle mass is a very important marker of lifespan and longevity. It's also the key driver of your metabolism. And if you want a proven step-by-step plan on how to get started with this, then I'm gonna link to my Lean Body Blueprint 21-day challenge at the top right-hand corner here. But once you find your healthy go-to meals and workouts, the concept of motivation gets completely taken out of the equation. And I'm not saying that motivation is bad. I think motivation is great. That's what gets most people started on this whole thing. But you can't rely on it forever because you only have a finite amount of it. Then it runs out. Like if you're not motivated to go to the gym because you're tired, you're probably not gonna go. What you need is a system, and having go-to healthy meals and finding workouts that you love doing is a big part of that system. In fact, it is the system. And even something as simple as changing your vocabulary can be a very powerful tool. Instead of saying, I have to work out, how about saying, I get to work out. I get to move my body. Instead of saying, I have to eat this, you can just say, I get to eat this. I get to nourish my body to keep it healthy and happy, except for pickles. Ugh. Because when you can develop that system, it becomes so much easier to just integrate it as part of your life. It becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth. You don't really question it anymore. It's just something that you do. It's part of your life. And sometimes we forget to brush our teeth, right? Maybe we fall asleep watching Netflix. Do we really question it if we should keep doing it? No, we wake up the next morning and then we just brush our teeth again. We don't really beat ourselves up over it, which leads me to my last tip. Have a good relationship with food and yourself. This is what ties everything together. This definitely took a little bit of time for me, but I'd like to think that I'm in a good place now when it comes to my relationship with food and myself. But for a lot of people, when they have an unplanned cheat meal, for example, or you open a bag of chips and you end up eating the entire thing, it's pretty common to feel bad because you think you've just ruined everything. You didn't. The danger doesn't lie when you have that cheat meal. Planned or unplanned, it doesn't matter. The danger really lies when you think you've just thrown it all away. Here's a quote that I love from Atomic Habits, one of my favorite productivity books. The first mistake is never the one that ruins you. It's the spiral of repeated mistakes that follows. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. Rewind this video if you need to hear that again. Because the faster you can recognize that little slip up as just a small bump on the road, the faster you can get back on track. What you don't want to do is beat yourself up over that one incident, because in the history of feelings, nobody has ever benefited from making themselves feel bad. It's extremely unproductive. Just remember that you change best when you feel good, not when you feel bad. That's why the intermittent fasting lifestyle that I talk a lot about on my channel is so powerful when it comes to changing your relationship with food. You can't be a slave to food. Your life should not revolve around it. And intermittent fasting can be a great teacher because you learn about the concept of delayed gratification. It teaches you to delay, but don't deny. Because in life, it's important to be able to say no to others. That's what keeps you on track with your goals. But it's even more important to learn how to say no to yourself. The next question then becomes, how are you actually supposed to eat if you want to lose weight? Because here's the thing, 80% of your body composition is determined by your diet. You can't just freestyle this part. Do you have a proven plan that you can follow? To help you with that, I want to give you a free copy of my Lean Body Blueprint. This is how I melted all the fat around my stomach without depriving myself of my favorite foods or wasting hours at the gym. It's a simple 4-step process specifically designed for busy professionals, and it's the exact same blueprint that I teach to all my private coaching clients, and they've all gone to see some amazing results. If you want to be the next success story, then download your free copy of the Lean Body Blueprint right now. There's going to be a link somewhere at the top here or in the description box. Just click on it, type in your email, and I'll send it to you right away. All right, that's all I've got. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and share it with your friends. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post a new video every week. And hey, leave a comment below if you have any questions about this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. First, a high five.